An ambulance speeds away from number 6 with its sirens ringing as it heads for the hospital. Once there, Ryan tells Carla that he came back home only to discover Betsy lying unconscious on the kitchen floor. Standing beside Betsy's hospital bed, a nurse informs an emotional Lisa that Betsy is being taken for an MRI scan. Dylan visits the hospital hoping to see Betsy, but he quickly rushes back out of her room, warning Lisa and Carla that she appears to be suffering a seizure. The two women look on in fear as doctors immediately begin treating Betsy. Later at the Rovers, Dylan proudly shows Brody and Lauren the gifts he has bought to make Betsy's time in hospital easier, explaining just how deeply he cares for her. However, when Dylan later turns up at the hospital carrying the bag of presents, he is stunned to learn that Lisa believes he is to blame for Betsy's condition. Meanwhile, back at the flat, Kit and Sarah share an honest conversation about their future, hoping to reach an agreement on what comes next. At the police station, Kit examines the investigation board connected to Theo's murder and attempts to question McLaughlin about the list of suspects, but McLaughlin refuses to reveal any information. Elsewhere, Ross admits that he wants to build a relationship with Tyrone, but when Tyrone notices unusual behavior between Cassie and Steve, he is left stunned after uncovering the truth. Cassie is dismayed when she discovers Ross spent the night at number 1 with Tracy. After Ross leaves, Cassie tries to warn Tracy that Ross is not the person he appears to be and urges her to be careful, but Tracy dismisses the warning. Elsewhere, Gemma confides in Bernie that Joseph is struggling to keep up with his schoolwork because he cannot focus while studying at home. Bernie suggests that Joseph could work quietly at number 7, leaving Chesney grateful for the idea. Later, Chesney visits the Rovers and tells Gemma that Linda's holiday rental business has collapsed, meaning she is no longer able to cover Joseph's school fees. Coronation Street viewers left perplexed by flaws in Megan Walsh's trial. Audiences of the popular ITV drama are well aware that the perpetrator faces a lengthy prison sentence following a guilty verdict from the jury. While viewers are celebrating the fact that justice finally prevailed in Megan Walsh's grooming arc, the courtroom proceedings that concluded with her imprisonment have sparked several questions among fans. As regular viewers are aware, the offender is slated for a multi-year prison term after a turbulent court case ended in a conviction, despite her victim, Will Driscoll, altering his testimony on 2 separate occasions. Megan originally showed up in Weatherfield following Will's brief disappearance, which occurred right after his father, Ben Driscoll, caught his partner, Eva Price, off guard by relocating to the area to manage the Rovers' return. The adolescent originally informed his relatives that he preferred to stay in Hull to continue his track and field progression under Megan's guidance. Because the family's relocation had already taken place, it was proposed that Megan relocate to Weatherfield alongside the Driscolls. She accepted the invitation, and it did not take long for the audience to discover the dark reality. It was ultimately disclosed that Will's reluctance to depart Hull stemmed from his covert romance with Megan in a disturbing exploitation narrative, with the duo becoming intimate right around his 16th birthday. Several months down the line, the truth unraveled after Sam Blakeman, who had deduced the situation and had been coerced into keeping quiet by Megan, was hospitalized and ultimately confided in his stepmother, Leanne Battersby, as well as her sister, Will's stepmother, Eva Price. Accountability was delayed because Will initially supported Megan's fabricated claims that he suffered from an unrequited obsession that she actively tried to discourage. However, after mistakenly believing he was organizing a getaway with Megan, Will eventually confessed the whole truth to law enforcement following a timely conversation with his neighbor, local taxi driver Tim Metcalf. The courtroom tensions subsequently unfolded last week. Despite initially telling the court that he had fabricated the allegations against Megan, Will returned to the witness stand to expose his abuser's damaging deceptions, which ultimately sealed the fate of the educator accused of exploiting and abusing her pupil. The jury convicted her on 2 distinct counts: inciting a minor to participate in sexual acts and abusing a position of authority, with later updates confirming a 5-year prison term. Reacting poorly to the verdict, a weeping Meghan became aggressive in the courtroom, loudly declaring her intention to challenge the ruling while accusing Will of perjury. Exiting Coronation Street actor predicts potential return arc for Meghan, featuring a familiar character. Though the stint of Coronation Street antagonist Megan Walsh has concluded in a gratifying manner, actress Beth Nixon has already envisioned a strategy for her character's comeback, alongside a former viewer favorite. Last week, audiences witnessed Meghan ultimately held accountable when a week-long courtroom battle ended in a conviction for exploiting Will Driscoll, Lucas Hodgson Whale. Upon her debut as Will's track and field trainer, Meghan was highly respected by the teenager's relatives. Observing Will's intense desire to keep practicing under her mentorship after relocating from Hull to Weatherfield, Eva Price, Catherine Tildesley, and Maggie Driscoll, Pauline McLynn offered Meghan additional compensation to make the commute. Eventually, Meghan permanently relocated to the area and secured employment at Will's Academy, where she started a romance with fellow educator Daniel Osborne Rob Mallard. Nevertheless, these actions merely served as a distraction from the hidden reality. In truth, Meghan was actively manipulating Will, who was under the impression they were romantic partners. They became intimate on his 16th birthday and persisted in having clandestine encounters over the ensuing months. The wrongdoing was only brought to light when Sam Blakeman Jude Riordan deduced the situation and informed Eva. Even so, prompting Will to acknowledge the abuse took a considerable amount of time. Fortunately, a reassuring discussion with Tim Metcalf Joe Duttine reframed the situation for him, leading to his decision to contact law enforcement about Meghan. While Meghan is currently facing a lengthy prison sentence, her portrayer, Beth, has proposed a concept that would allow the character to remain on television alongside another individual, Lou Michaelis Farrell Hegarty. Lou became a popular figure during her short tenure on the show before receiving a prison sentence of her own, subsequently appearing in scenes from jail during Debbie Webster's Sue Devaney incarceration. I'd love Meghan to bump into Lou Michaelis. Farrell is a really good friend, so I'd love to do some prison scenes with her. That would be fabulous, Beth commented to Digital Spy. I think Lou would definitely put Meghan in her place for sure. It is evident that Beth thoroughly appreciated her tenure on the program, noting that she would eagerly welcome any chance to return. I loved it so much and I cried so much on my last day. It's just such a fab place to work and I felt so blessed to have been given the storyline. Furthermore, she revealed that she was aware of the plot's resolution long before filming, emphasizing the significance of Meghan being penalized. We always knew that she was going to serve her time. It shows the whole process of it. It's quite nice because it's showing what all the family are going through, how they're supporting Will, and how it's affecting them. Coronation Street is broadcast on weekday evenings at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is available for streaming via ITVX.